On April 12, 2024, New Japan Pro Wrestling and AEW talents invaded the Wintrust Arena in Chicago, Illinois, a city rich in the history of professional wrestling, going back decades and decades, going back to the Dumont Network, where Vern Gagne even got over and so many great moments took place. As well as WrestleMania 13, that honestly only really had Stone Cold Steve Austin and Bret the Hitman Hart, and then the rest of the card. But on April 12th, 2024, we had championship matches, we had violence, and then we had a main event that proves that Gato and Tony Khan are both madmen. No Christina Hendricks, unfortunately. More in the pity. I'm John Renton with my review of New Japan Pro Wrestling's Windy City Riot 2024 event. Let me know your thoughts on this show in the comments, please. Because people wanted me to watch this, I decided to plunk down $20 and watch it. You know what? Even though I had a couple issues, and I'll talk about those as I get into the review, I'm glad I did for one particular match. But honestly, there were some good moments. No, this is not a return to me reviewing New Japan Pro Wrestling more regularly, only because I don't really have a lot of time. I got a lot of work coming up in the next month or so, so I'll review what I can, but I am glad that I decided to get this now. This review is up a little bit later after the event was done because I was trying to decide, okay, what should I do? Should I, maybe dive into this immediately? I decided to watch SmackDown and decided to get back to this because honestly, there were a few matches I was glad I could just watch on demand. So, Wintrust Arena, Chicago, Illinois. 10,000 seat capacity. AEW has run events there before. WWE has run events there before. They had 6,200 people. That's pretty goddamn good. If New Japan Pro Wrestling can market their U.S. brand more, I'd like to see them run more mid-sized arenas like this. Hell, maybe they could run the Angel of the Winds Arena in Everett, Washington, where, as of this particular recording, we are about a month away from AEW bringing Dynamite to that 10,000 seat arena, where they're probably going to draw maybe a third of that. Nevertheless, I'm glad that New Japan Pro Wrestling got a big house there, and you know what? They had a pretty good card and a pretty energetic crowd. So, commentary by Chris Charlton, Walker Stewart, and Veda Scott. Now, I like Veda Scott, and Veda Scott has done good on commentary before. I don't know if she was under the weather. I don't know if it's because you had Chris Charlton and Walker Stewart, who kind of are two domineering, presences on commentary. But I felt that Veda, while she is good, I don't know if this necessarily played to her strengths. So the venue looked good, it sounded good. And the pre-show was Matt Vandergriff versus Zane J, who I honestly thought was trying to impersonate Evan Courageous. Why anybody would want to do that, I don't know. This was a strong Survivor match. I don't really pay enough attention to the U.S. brand to really know what that is. I would imagine it's just Young Lion stuff. Not much really of note. These guys got out there in front of a pretty big crowd to do their stuff. The Styles Clash wins it. Not bad. Was what it was. And then we get Alex Windsor and Trish Adora. And Alex Windsor, according to commentary, apparently had been going through some health issues, but has been tearing it up in Japan and in the UK. And you know what? Whatever health issues, injuries, whatever it is, I'm glad she's doing well. She certainly was fired up here. It wasn't the last that we see of her. And they took on Mina Shirakawa, who is absolutely captivating. I really do see why people like her. Now, I do follow the Japanese and the English translation of We Are Stardom, and I try to catch Stardom matches when I can. I just can't catch them that often. I absolutely see why people love Mina Shirakawa. She is, Jesus Christ, absolutely captivating, energetic, charismatic, fucking gorgeous, looks great. I really am a big fan of hers. Has absolutely nothing to do with what she did with Mariah May on AEW Dynamite. Why would you think that? But no, really, she just has that star quality. And Viva Van, who is very good also. I've seen her, grow as far as being on Independence, and she's very, very good. I'm very glad that she got a chance to be in front of about 6,000 people. And Mina was certainly very fired up. Good energy here. The crowd was very up for this. And I am going to say, though, there were points where I almost didn't know why they bothered having a referee, because it's like, hey, let's just do moves. Trish did hit a nice German throw. She has good power. Mina had some nice speed. Viva Van's very, very good. Very nice bridge at one point. Alex Windsor with some good power as well. And we got just a lot of really, really, some good near falls here. And then we got some kind of driver variation. 1, 2, 3. Windsor pins Viva. Okay. You know what? Good. Good pre-show match right there. And then we go to, I did note one thing before we dive into the main show, that the commentary table was really, really close to the front row, yet, they gave him quite a wide berth. Like, there was quite a bit of space around the guardrail, and then I knew why once we got to one match about halfway through. We'll get to that. Anyway, main show now, so loud Casa Ninare chants, or, just singing along with that. Great that Minoru Suzuki is getting to wrestle in front of big crowds in the U.S. I'm kind of hopeful because Wrestle Dream is coming back to Washington State, and I was there for last year's edition. I've decided that I will go there if one or both of, my friends that went with me last year want to go. I'll go down to Tacoma Dome, and hopefully maybe Minoru Suzuki will be there. Maybe there'll be a large presence of New Japan talents, or at least talents that aren't being used by New Japan all that much. So speaking of talents that, could be used better, let's just go with that. Ren Narita, who's part of House of Torture. And this is one reason why I will not watch New Japan on the regular, because Bullet Club can't stand it. I'm sorry. It's a husk, shrieking berserker noises, and the House of Torture stuff is just death. It's awful. It's not even, heels, I want to see you get beaten. No, I just think they're fucking awful. Loud Suzuki chants. Minoru says, I'm going to jumpstart and beat the shit out of you. And he does. And then there's this long board or bar thing that Narita has used. I've seen it before. I don't really know what he calls it. I don't really fucking care. There's a chair in the corner, and then he ends up basically using the board after the referee gets all, flummoxed and everything, and the board gets the victory. After an X Factor. Good, Narita got the victory. I mean, Narita beating Suzuki at this point of Suzuki's career is not going to affect Suzuki at all. And it's one thing to do heel tactics, but again, House of Torture is just stupid. What wasn't stupid was the next match. AZM Azumi, however the hell you say it. I think she was on 1 or 2 shows that I've reviewed. That was back last year. Took on Stephanie Vaquer. Vaquer? She's not French. Stephanie V is what I'm going to call her. I am absolutely in love. I see why people like her. I've seen her on some other shows. I saw that match she had with Julia where she beat her for the New Japan Strong Women's Championship, and that's what this was for. And God, she has an incredible look. My goddamn goodness. Fucking goddamn, my goodness. Has that physical charisma, looks great, and can actually wrestle. Not just somebody that looks good standing there and can have a good presence. She can back it up in the ring. And Azumi can really do that. Or Azumi. High-speed bomb girl's what they call her. Moving on. Good pace to it, actually. I would argue this is close to match of the night. This is the match I enjoyed the most until we got later into the card because the women killed it. It also proves that you don't need to actually have a match go 15, 20 minutes. You can have it go, what'd this go? 11? Maybe? I mean, maybe 12? But it was fast-paced. They sold well. They did some good stuff. There was an incredible snap dragon screw that just hurt my knee. That was great stuff. I see why they call her high speed, because Azumi hit some really good stuff. But after that dragon screw, she hit a stomp outside. But boy, that was definitely brutal. A smash drop kick by Stephanie. I volunteer as tribute. And, really good pace here. They did slow it down a little bit before picking it back up. A stomp by Azumi. And then a trap pin. Oh, no, she's going to get the victory. No, then, double underhook backbreaker. 1, 2, 3. And Stephanie gets the victory. What a fucking match. Really good stuff. Really, really happy that I ordered this for just this match alone. Not that other matches a little bit later on weren't worth it. This was fucking worth it. This was great stuff. And then Alex Windsor comes out and challenges Stephanie. And, okay, that's going to happen in Resurgence. I'm probably not going to end up ordering that because if I'm right, I think it's May 11th. I might be busy doing some extra shifts, so I apologize. But then we get to a match that had a lot of people in it. Hikuleo and ELP against Hasten Nichols, against Filthy Tom Lawler and Fred Rosser. And they were better enemies, but they were better friends, I guess. They fought over the Strong Openweight Championship, or the Strong Openweight Championship. Yeah, that's what it was. And Rosser got his head shaved. Rosser also decided to shave his goatee. I think the facial hair worked better. He kind of looks a lot older there, but I don't know. It is what it is. Isaacs and Nelson were the fourth team. And it makes sense. It's really wild that I saw Isaacs and Nelson wrestling in front of like 400 or 500 people at at some shows in Seattle about 5 years ago. Really, really good talents, and I'm really glad that they're doing great here. 4-way strong tag team championship match. It was what it was, but this was another multi-person match, and it was fine. It was fine. I didn't hate it. It dissolved basically. It was basically about Filthy Tom Lawler and Fred Rosser getting their hands on Isaacs and Nelson. And the other two teams were just kind of in the periphery. I mean, yeah, they have a little bit of history. Hayes and Nichols were kind of playing defense. And Hayes eventually blind tags ELP and then covers Nelson 1, 2, 3. So we have new tag champs there. Okay. I ain't hate it. I just didn't love it. There's nothing really to talk about. Moving on. So yeah, Team Filthy then break down. And we get Rosser laid out. We get Lawler pile driven in the ring. And then Isaacs and Nelson decide to scissor Lawler by cutting off his hair. I run a clean show. Let's stop this. And that's it. And then he ate the hair, and the crowd was chanting, "You sick fucks. You sick fuck." And then we get CM Punk chants. Why? Because the scapegoat himself, Mr. Cry Me a River, even had that on a jacket because Jack Perry is bound determined to make himself a victim. Look, I saw the footage. This is my opinion. CM Punk needed to be out of AEW. It wasn't going to work. Jack Perry doesn't need to be in AEW because it hasn't worked. And they're going to find a way to bring him back. And I'm making this bold, maybe not so bold prediction that he is going to help the Young Bucks beat FTR at Dynasty. And it's going to make the tag titles even more meaningless. So, Perry had security in the Cry Me a River jacket. Showed his entrance took 4 years. Actually, it was about 5 minutes, but whatever. Shota Umino with blonde hair. I don't know how to feel about that. It looks weird. Maybe I'll get used to it. It's kind of like Zack Sabre Jr. with blonde hair. But that being said, Jack Perry, I know there are people that think I'm being too harsh, but I'm just not seeing it. I'm just not. I'm just... his dad was a pretty good actor. I think his dad could act Jack Perry now, and his dad unfortunately passed on a number of years ago. Rest in peace, Luke Perry. Oh, cry me a river chance, and then you got choked out. No, he did. And see, that was fun. This was an interactive crowd, and I enjoyed that. The crowd was the best part of this match. Yes, Jack Perry had attacked Shota Umino, I believe, at Battle in the Valley, if I recall correctly. I believe that was the event he attacked him at. And this isn't going to work with Jack. I'm sorry. It's just not. For good, bad, or indifferent, they're going to try this, and maybe they thought, we'll give him a fresh coat of paint. No, not really. The Reluchasaurus chants, the stupid Poison Rana. This match just kind of went on. They took it seriously, I guess. Eventually, Shota got the victory with his version of the Death Rider. And this isn't the last we see of Shota Umino. And then we get a show of respect. I did like the GTS and the DDT before that. That was kind of cool. But whatever. Do you guys think it's going to work with Jack Perry? Because I just don't. I don't think showing that video did him any favors. It just made him look like an idiot. And it made AEW look like a sloppy shop. And Khan shouldn't have been fearing for his life. And I believe people said he was in attendance for this show, or at least backstage for this show. So that's pretty much an indication that he's probably going to bring Perry back. And then Hiromu Takahashi along with Swole Daryl, because we need to give muscles to a stuffed cat. whatever. All hail Daryl. I mean, he'd be a better leader than, some people in the past. Because he's a stuffed animal, he don't take no shit. Against Mustafa Ali. It's the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champ against the TNA Heavyweight. TNA X Division Champion. Ali could be the Heavyweight Champion, but he's the X Division Champion currently. Big chance for Ali, and Ali we trust. But there were more chance for Swole Daryl and Hiromu. So it kind of went where it's like, okay, Ali's the hometown guy. But he got this. All this stuff's going on. It's crazy. Crowd was very into it. Ali was a bit more heelish. We did get some comedy with Daryl. We got a DDT on the floor, then neck targeting by Ali. And Chris mentions how Daryl was spraying his seed far and wide. And it picks up near the end. We got a backflip at one point where Ali nearly hits the camera. He hits a dive. He ends up getting busted open. So, okay, we get blood. That's all right. It's a good thing this is the only match where we get blood. Oh. And Ali does manage somehow to hit a 450 and get the victory. 1, 2, 3. Continuing his undefeated streak. I believe they said he was 25-0 this year. And he's 26-0. And I know he wrestled in Defy. I didn't get a chance to go to that show. I have my reasons for not going to Defy shows. I'm going to leave it at that. Those who attend those shows will likely know what I mean. Those who don't anymore will definitely know what I mean. So, a handshake with Daryl or a show of respect with Daryl. What I didn't respect was the next match. It was a Riot Rules match. No DQ tag match. Tornado tag. It was an 8-man tag. You had Gabriel Kidd and 3 guys against Eddie Kingston and 3 guys. So that meant weapons and all kinds of bullshit could be brought out. So who would dare to team with Gabe Kidd? Who needs to be institutionalized? This guy's an idiot. A blithering fucking idiot. I do not get why people like him. This guy has to basically shout like he's being cattle prodded constantly. He decides to swear like crazy, which I don't give a shit. You swear as much as you damn well want. But it sounds like he's trying to talk himself into it more than anything else. He also can't fucking work a lick. So anyway, Clark Connors, Kenta, and David Finlay, who apparently is back from whatever injury or illness he had. Thankfully, he's all right. So the Bullet Club War Dogs, Alex Coughlin retired, I guess due to injuries or something. I don't know. Wish him the best in his retirement. Eddie Kingston had Jeff Cobb, TJP, and Homicide. How old is Homicide? Because Homicide has been around for a while, and Homicide was moving pretty well in TNA back in 2007, 2008. The problem is that seems like a lifetime ago. So, they bring weapons out. They keep bringing weapons out. And I noted just a few things. This is everything wrong with wrestling. Kid is a fucking moron. I hate the Bullet Club. I hate trash matches like this. I don't mind hardcore matches, but this is everything. I don't care what promotion you put this in. You can put this in GCW. It would belong there because that's garbage championship wrestling. But nevertheless, tables and trash cans, and they go into the crowd. We get a barbed wire chair because we can't take any of this seriously. This wasn't as bad as the dog cage thing match that they had that I hated because this was about half the time. But we get just fuck everything in this. Just fuck it all. We get a ladder spin. Gabriel Kidd making himself dizzy. At least he would if his brain worked. And then we get people are bleeding. Clark Connors at one point puts a barbed wire crown on his head. Everyone is dumb for participating in this. I'm sorry. I like Jeff Cobb, but god damn it. God damn it. Aftermath, by the way, after Homicide got pinned, they get in a brawl. Eddie basically says, last man standing will take the ropes away. So, yeah, this is not going to be taken seriously at all. So that's pretty much cementing I'm not going to order Resurgence, no matter what's on there. If a couple matches get uploaded, maybe if the women have a good match, maybe I'll seek that out at some point. Zack Sabre Jr. took on Matt Riddle in the TV Championship match. Major boos for Riddle. Good God. So many boos. Zack Sabre Jr. is a joy to watch. And they were cheering everything Zack Sabre Jr. did. If he drew a deep breath, they were cheering. I love watching Zack Sabre Jr. work. At one point, he's targeting the bare feet, shrieking Tony Atlas noises. Good submissions and strikes. Riddle can work. He's just a moron. And then eventually we get a crucifix pin, 1, 2, 3. Zack Sabre Jr. once again, the TV champion. Good. Riddle isn't a champion in New Japan anymore. The guy has dumbed himself out of so many goddamn pushes and out of the biggest goddamn company because he couldn't stop being a piece of shit. And New Japan really looks bad bringing him in, I'm just saying. Zack Sabre Jr. promo. He's happy to have his baby back, baby back. Who will he defend his title against? Jeff Cobb showed up. I hope that Jeff Cobb can, have a, great match with Zack Sabre Jr., but Jesus. Oh, that fucking 8-man tags was horrible. So, Capital Collision in August. I understand Jericho is frantically on the phone with both Gato and Tony Khan trying to get himself and his wife booked because we know where his wife was on January 6th in 2021. And I'm not going to let anybody forget that. And I'm not going to let anybody forget that Jericho is a crackpot. And everybody that thinks like him deserves the worst in life. And his wife's a stupid twat that deserves to be jailed. Nick Nemeth took on Tomohiro Ishii. And it was... Nick Nemeth is the global champion that I believe Finlay won, and then they did a switch. Well, this is certainly a match that I didn't expect to see. When Nemeth decided, Nemeth, by the way, the former Dolph Ziggler, just in case anybody doesn't know, major you fucked up chance, because he was trying to get into face of Ishii. He should have targeted the neck, except Ishii does not possess the neck. And then we get a superplex by Ishii. A DDT spike for 2. The Famouser for 2. Ishii fires back, gets hit with a super kick, and apparently the zigzag is now the danger zone. Okay. Again, I have not been paying that much attention to New Japan lately. I think I saw like one Nick Nemeth match. And a lariat for 1. I hate the kickouts at 1. They're stupid. Stop doing it. But then eventually headbutts, and then danger, danger, danger zone. There you go. Nick Nemeth wins. Let's move on. So Jon Moxley makes his entrance through the crowd, taking forever and ever. I did like that he finally shaved his head all the way down. It does actually suit him. Naito gets a pretty good pop. Takes 5 years to take off his clothes. The other clothes other than his gear. Probably should emphasize that. Naito against Moxley. IWGP title. And okay, look, I didn't mind this match. It wasn't great. It was cool for the finish, but I'll explain here in a minute. So basically, it was what it was. I mean, there was stalling for a little bit. They went out on the floor, and Mox basically doesn't sell very good, is what I noted. An apron DDT, a chair shot on a dive, and then Mox takes about 12 years to fucking blade. If you can't blade quick, this is just a fan's perspective. They had to cut away. That took me out of the match. I'm sorry. So, yeah, the blood just, he bled like crazy because it's a day that ends in Y. We did get a Death Rider for 2. We got some more moves, don't get me wrong, but this was almost just Naito getting completely destroyed near the end. He got hit with a lariat, kicked out at 1, but then couldn't fight back, got hit with another Death Rider. 1, 2, 3. New IWGP World Champion, Jon Moxley. So that's a big deal. He won titles in WWE, in AEW, and in New Japan. Then you have AJ Styles, who won titles in TNA, New Japan, and WWE. So you know what? That's really cool. Those kind of Triple Crowns, that's good shit. Name some other Triple Crown people. But yeah, he basically says, hey, I want a Shooter, in the ring. Shota Umino. He called him Shooter all the way back in 2019. But then Ren Narita shows up basically to fuck that up, and Umino runs him off, and then he says, oh, Narita, you're going to get yours. He said something, but, at this point, I want to like Mox, but Mox frustrates me. Cool that he won the title. I don't think he's going to hold it past Dominion. Or maybe he might hold it till Forbidden Door and lose it there. He could. Will Naito win it back? Are we saying good Naito to Naito as a main eventer? New Japan has some issues, and they got to rebuild some people, and they got to Get some young talents ready. Put the rocket on Yota Tsuji and have him win the title at Forbidden Door. I don't know. There were good parts on the show. The crowd definitely made it. But this is probably the only New Japan show I'm going to review till maybe Dontaku, I don't know. Probably Dominion. I will probably review Dominion. But anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Rentlin. I'll see you soon.